The Natural Resources Conservation Service helps farmers, ranchers, and foresters implement forestry conservation practices that reduce fire hazard, enhance recreational opportunities, improve wildlife habitat, remove invasive plant species, create pollinator habitat, and plant trees. A recent example of an NRCS forestry practice implemented in northeastern Minnesota is on Jordan Blessing's forested land. A widespread spruce budworm outbreak has killed a large number of balsam fir and spruce trees along the north shore of Lake Superior, creating a dangerous fire hazard for homes in the area. Over the past 2 years, NRCS has provided Jordan with technical and financial assistance to help him develop and implement a plan for managing his forested acres.
This is a really gorgeous site with a lot of maple, and it's actually really unique with how much oak is out here. They bought this because they want to enjoy it, let their kids play out here, enjoy the winter out here, and you can't do that when there's a lot of dead trees that are going to fall and are blocking your way. They've got a lot of dead and dying balsam fir and spruce. Really big fire hazard, doesn't look great. Makes it hard to go out here and enjoy the property and do any recreation. It's not great for the other trees. Number one goal for almost all of these projects is the fire hazard. It's pretty obvious. You walk out there and see these gray trees with lots of fine fuels. If they were to go up, not only do we not want fire out here, period, but that's a pretty hot fire that's going to get up into the crown and damage other trees. This site, the trees were mostly smaller. Most of the balsam was under 8 inches, so that makes it a really good site for mulching. If they're bigger than that, I usually try and steer away from recommending mulching because you're going to end up with just too much debris on the ground. In that case, I want to get somebody either in with a traditional logging setup to take the debris off site, or pile it and burn it, or do something to remove some of it, because you're just going to end up with too much stuff.
Financial and technical assistance for this project was provided through the Environmental Quality Incentives Program, or EQIP. A local logging company was hired by Jordan to clear out the dead balsam and spruce trees on his property. Josh Hull brought in specialized machinery to bring down the dead trees and chop them up into a coarse mulch. These machines are able to move through the forest and cut down dead trees while leaving the living trees unharmed.
This method is fairly new in this area. I started with a ASV style mulcher about 6 years ago, and we started dabbling into some of these programs as NRCS was really getting rolling up here. We've since expanded. The technology has changed a little bit to increase the performance and productivity of this equipment. This method is very effective at reducing fire risk. The machines can take both standing trees and down trees and turn them into mulch. On bigger trees, the machine will actually lift the head up and cut the tree off up by the branches and then run down the stem to turn it into mulch while it's still standing. So the fire hazard alone is just one aspect of it. The other issue that comes into play is with all of these standing dead trees, you end up shading out the ground. So you end up with different levels of canopy and nothing new can start growing. We've been having phenomenal success doing this type of work on these jobs and having just the right amount of regeneration come back where landowners are able to have areas that they can plant trees, some areas that they can plant grasses, some areas that they can leave untouched and just let natural regeneration take place.
We are also doing lots of planting projects, lots of deer caging. This area has really high deer populations. They all come down during the winter to yard up along the North Shore where it's a little bit warmer. And so we're helping a lot of people put up deer exclosures so that they can plant trees and have them actually survive. This is a really important landscape on the North Shore. There's a lot of unique plant communities up here, a lot of unique wildlife. A lot of people have strong ties to this landscape for recreation, and their families have been around here for a long time. So protecting it is really important, and taking good care of it is really important, both for the people living here now and for future generations.
Over the past several years, Jim Widen and his family who also live near the north shore of Lake Superior, have been implementing more of a do-it-yourself approach to removing the dead balsam and spruce trees on their forested land. The NRCS has provided Jim with technical and financial assistance to meet his goals of reducing the fire hazard around their homes, improving recreational opportunities, and enhancing wildlife habitat on their land.
We've had this property for about 15 years. The problem we have here is the spruce budworm came through here and knocked out just about all the balsam and a lot of the spruce. It created a really big fire hazard, so we were trying to change the habitat back to what originally was and to reduce fire hazard. What we do is we go in with chainsaws and we cut down all the dead balsams and spruce trees around all these pines and aspen and all the other trees. We'll go a little bit at a time and cut it down. We cut it in pieces, and then I have a skidder with a rake on it that we push into a pile and we'll burn as we're going. That way you don't get these big, huge burn areas. We're also replanting and caging at the same time. I plant the white pines basically because I want to make sure some seed in there, but I do get a lot of natural regen of white pines. This is along the Lake Superior, so I have a lot of trouble with deer. Unfortunately, when you get natural regen, you also get deer. I don't want a monoculture. I don't want it to look like a plantation. So I try to plant enough white pines in there to make it look more of a natural forest. I generally try to shoot for 500 to 600 trees every year because I try to clear 5 acres a year and I put 100 trees per acre. This is under the NRCS EQIP program. If you wanted to do it yourself like I do, and it helps me with the costs for chainsaws and operations, and it helps me operate my skidder, or you could use it as a partial payment to hire somebody else to do it if you're unable to do it yourself. I've had people, even my friends, say, why are you doing all this? So I guess the reason that is it's twofold. One, of course, is the fire prevention, because my 2 daughters live on this land, and I've seen what has happened to other areas with these balsam in other parts of the country, the fires. So fire prevention was the big one, but it's also, sounds sort of corny, but it's sort of a legacy thing for me too, because I'm not a short-term person. A lot of people think short-term now, because I've had people say, well, why are you doing this? Because you're not going to live long enough to see these big trees. It says, well, but it's not about me. It's about the future generations, no matter who they are. Someday some people will walk through here and really enjoy this. They won't know I had a lot to do with it, but that doesn't matter. This is all I can do. I can't write a book. I'm not a movie star except for here. So this is my thing.
For the past 2 decades, Jim Morrison has worked with the NRCS on a number of projects to improve the wildlife habitat on his forested land in central Minnesota. In his latest project, Jim is working with NRCS partner Duane Fogard, who is a forester working for the American Bird Conservancy to improve the breeding habitat for the golden-winged warbler. Due to habitat loss, hybridization, and other threats, this species has now been placed on several state-level endangered and threatened species lists.
What we wanted to do with our place kind of evolved. At first, we just wanted to get away from the city. And then eventually we were like, I think we can be farmers and be respectful of the land as well and improve it. Currently we're doing this golden wing warbler project. Unless you have a fire or a major windstorm, logging is the only other way in which forests will go through succession. And the majority of our woods were probably 40 years old or older. So when this program came up, it made sense because what it does is it creates some succession. Even though it looks scary at first, you just have to kind of look and think, all right, in a year or 2, it's not going to look anything like that. It's going to heal up. So I just look at this as part of the natural succession.
I'm a forester for the American Bird Conservancy, and we have a partnership with NRCS to help private landowners manage their land for young forest wildlife. It's a commercial timber sale that's designed to create a disturbance that will lead to young forest habitat, brushland and young trees coming up that young forest wildlife like golden wing warblers will be able to use for their breeding needs is the main thing that warblers use it for. One of the interesting things about them is then after the chicks hatch, they move to some nearby older forest, and then they feed on insects, mainly caterpillars, in that older forest until they migrate back south again in the fall. The idea was to cut about 85% of the trees to open it up enough that you're getting sunlight to the ground, so you get a lot of that woody young trees and brush coming in. With this particular logging operation, they're what we call a more conventional operation, where they have a feller buncher that actually fells the trees and then puts it into bunches, and then there's a skidder that comes around and grabs the bunches and hauls it to either a limmer or someplace where they do the limbing, then go to the slasher where it's cut into products to haul to the mill. Mainly the trees that are getting left are the oaks, and also some maple basswood are getting left too.
At this stage, now that I've been doing this for 25 years, we'll have people come and visit and say, how do I do this too? And I say, you need to contact your NRCS office. You really do. There are a lot of resources, if nothing else, just good information. And I think anybody, if they're blessed to have a piece of property, can look at it in that manner and say, what can I do to leave something better than when it was when I was here? A lasting legacy, I guess you could call it.
For more information on how the NRCS can help you with your forestry-related practices or concerns, please visit your local NRCS office. Contact information is provided in the video description below. NRCS, helping people help the land.